In this video, I'm going to be building a $1 LEGO Star Wars spaceship and a $300 one. Let's get started. I was running low on LEGO pieces, so I headed to my local comic store, which luckily has a ton of bulk LEGO for sale, along with other awesome stuff. I bought as much as I could and made sure I got a good variety of pieces to work with. Let's start by making the $1 Star Wars spaceship. With such a tight budget, I knew the build would be quite small. I had a bunch of gray pieces, so I decided to try and make a mini Republic Venator. And I was really liking how it was coming together. And here's the finished thing. I don't think it looks too bad. It certainly looks like it's worth $1. I swapped out the classic gray bridge section with dark red pieces to better match the UCS version. The dark red bridge indicates that it's the command ship and not just a basic Venator. This thing looks pretty puny next to its big brother. It also stays together surprisingly well, even when swooshed around. I think this looks like a $1 build. I give it a pass. Let's try another one. I had a ton of black pieces, so I thought I'd try and make a little TIE fighter. And when I say little, I mean microscopic. This thing is so small. I think it sort of looks like a TIE fighter, though. Let's compare it next to a larger TIE fighter build. It's certainly durable enough to fight a larger TIE fighter. I like this little guy, I give it a pass. Let's try another $1 Star Wars ship. I set out to try and make one with a little more color than the previous builds. I was putting random pieces together and it began to resemble a Y-Wing, so I decided to go with that design. I built Zori Bliss's version of the Y-Wing from The Rise of Skywalker. I thought red suited the Y-Wing nicely. I think it kind of resembles the original design. It only used a couple of pieces and is very tiny, so I think it definitely qualifies as a $1 build. And it's quite durable too. I give it a pass. Let's make one final $1 Star Wars spaceship. I had some navy blue pieces lying around, so I decided to try and build Jango Fett's Slave 1 in micro scale. And I think it came out decently well. It barely uses any pieces, and it's definitely small enough to fit the $1 price tag. Here it is next to Boba Fett's Slave 1, or rather his son's ship. I think it sort of captures the unique design of the Slave 1. Let's see how durable it is, though. Even Obi-Wan wanted to test its durability. I give it a pass. Alright, I'm tired of this $1 budget. Let's raise it. If I'm going to try and hit this $300 threshold, then I'm going to need more pieces. I ventured out to the LEGO store's pick and build wall and grabbed whatever I could. I also had a lot more used LEGO pieces left over from the comic store haul. I had a couple pounds of bricks here with a total cost of around $150, so we're getting closer to that $300 mark. Since some of these pieces are used, I decided to give them a little wash to ensure we're working with squeaky clean parts. I thoroughly scrubbed and rinsed the pieces, then set them out to dry. And they looked brand spanking new. Now it's time to decide which Star Wars spaceship to build. I thought I'd start by putting together a Technic frame to ensure structural integrity, because that's important, right? Considering I had a ton of gray, black, and navy blue pieces, I thought I'd take a stab at building General Grievous's command ship, the Invisible Hand, as seen in Revenge of the Sith. Oh yeah, the one that got absolutely destroyed in the beginning of the movie. I really dig the look of it though, so I thought it would be fun to build. I also forgot that I had the midi-scale version LEGO released this year, which turned out to be a very useful reference while building this thing. I was running out of pieces again, so I turned to the internet and bought more parts on Bricklink, which added $100 to the bill. That brings the total to $250 so far. And yeah, I'm almost broke now. I wasn't very confident at the start, but as I kept layering sections together, the ship began to take shape. I added in the back booster engines and quickly realized that I needed to make the ship much bigger than I initially thought. I extended the front and added more Technic beams for support, and I felt good about the direction the build was taking, though I still had no idea how I was going to fill in all the large gaps. And General Grievous was of no help. I thought adding some stands would be a good idea to give myself more room to work on the bottom of the ship, and they came together quite nicely, and I'm genuinely surprised they can hold the weight of the build. To fill in the gaps, I thought it would be best to use clip pieces for the side paneling. And somehow I managed to angle the panels in a way that hit all the gaps. And I was pretty happy with how the front section was turning out, though I knew the back portion would be very challenging. I continued building the side paneling and clipping them to various sections of the ship, and it was looking better than I expected. I wanted to make the model as detailed as possible, so I added a variety of small pieces to mimic the tiny mechanical parts of the ship. Trying to achieve the angled look for the top spire was super tedious, but it ended up working out. And here's the final build. I'm pretty happy with it. I think it somewhat resembles the Invisible Hand, so I give it a pass. But that's up for you to decide. I still needed a few more Lego pieces to complete the final touches of the build, so I used a large collection of my own parts, probably worth around $50, which brings the total to $300 for this plastic behemoth. Alright, enough talking. Let's take this hunk of garbage for a spin and test its swoosh ability. As much as I would love to see this thing crash against a brick wall, I'd probably be pretty sad, so we'll save that for another day. I'm happy to report that General Grievous is pleased with my build of his ship, even though it's nowhere near minifigure scale, and Obi-Wan and Anakin had to figure that out the hard way. Yeah, their ships didn't fit at all. And this is the moment I've been waiting for. Ever since I began building the Invisible Hand, I knew I needed to see it alongside the UCS Venator. Let's just say if my table decided to collapse on itself right now, I would be a very, very sad man. I wanted to reenact the scene in Revenge of the Sith where the Venator and Invisible Hand wreak absolute havoc on each other. That was pretty fun to recreate, and I think General Grievous thinks so too. That was certainly my most challenging build thus far, and the most painful for my wallet, but it was a lot of fun. This is Cooper from Vice Versa Bricks. Thanks for tuning in and happy building.